Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you, and I'm so passionate and excited to have this video with you. This is going to be 5 cheap activities or 5 cheap habits that will change your life. I feel very passionate about this because although this might not be the most popular video on my channel and maybe not deal with what I normally deal with, I know it has the potential to change someone's life. And it doesn't come from some cheesy place. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to share with you activities that really did change my life for the better. If you want my credentials, I am somebody that moved to a foreign country by myself, Sweden, 6 years ago. I lived absolutely by myself for 4 years. Trust me, I've had plenty of times in my own head to deal with things. Now I have a girlfriend. I've had success in my career and in personal life as well, and I've begun a YouTube channel. I do not think I'm perfect in any ways. I still have plenty of things I need to work on myself, and I want you guys to know that first of all. But I wanted to go into the 5 things. I call these the 5 R's. I'm going to go into them in no particular order of which one's the most important, and I want to challenge you. Maybe someone out there I'm sure is going through a rut. Someone that's watching my YouTube videos. There could be someone that's really in a down place right now, and this video might really resonate and speak with you. And I just feel so happy that you're giving me the chance, so thank you so much. So I'm going to go through the 5. If you choose one, I want you to write down which one is the one you're going to try, and on this same video I want you to come back to it 30 days later and explain your experience and how it went. So going through the 5 R's, the first R is going to be running. Few things, really nothing in my life, no class has taught me more than running taught me. And I discovered running when I was 24 years old. I started a little bit when I was in college, but that's when I really made a commitment to running. And it was through this daily habit and starting to run races that it taught me so much about life and not giving up. See, you can go to school and you can learn certain things, but to really understand and learn success in life, you really have to deal with the physical struggles as well. And before I decided to move to Sweden, I had the challenge of running a marathon. And you don't have to run a marathon. You don't even have to, run any kind of race. You just need to commit to starting to run. And running teaches you that over time, if you continually do that, you get better. You get stronger. There's also times where you don't feel like doing it, and then you still find the energy. Or you're running a race and you want to give up. I think there's too many people out there nowadays, and I used to be one of them before I found running, where you give up or something just gets hard and you just think that you can't do it. And running definitely changes that. When I started my YouTube channel, I started it with the mindset of being a runner, which was I was going to be consistent with it, and then over time I would see how it goes. So I treat a lot of things in life like a marathon and not a sprint. And I think having that attitude, I think a lot of people would really benefit from that. But you can't do it from just watching a YouTube video on here. You have to do it through actually exercising. By all means, do any type of exercise that you want. I'm sure other cardio exercise is good, but I just think that running is the one that's the most simplest to do. And I just think our brains are kind of wired for it, and that's the one that works. But at the same time, you got to be a little bit crazy to do the long distances. But it definitely helps me. So that's number 1. Number 2 is going to be reading. And again, this is a habit that's really not that expensive. And you might be thinking, oh, this is just cheesy here. But hear me out. When you go to school and you start learning, maybe the teacher makes you read a book that you don't necessarily want to read. And a lot of people get out of school and then they get a regular job and they don't read. It's so uncommon now for people to read. And there's so many distractions. You got YouTube, you got video games and everything else. But reading has changed my life for the better. There's something about reading information. It could be a fiction book. It doesn't matter what it is, fiction, nonfiction. Your brain just takes in the information, but it's also like a very meditative thing to do because you really have to focus on what the author's saying. And there's just something very intimate about reading somebody's words. And maybe you don't have the time to read and you don't want to do it that way. By all means, as well, audiobooks work well as well. Right now I'm going through a little bit of a rut of reading. I've read about 20 books this year. But I'm doing a little bit of listening to audiobooks right now because I don't have the energy to read. And that's okay. I'm still taking in the knowledge. It's really simple. You can just try an Audible account if you want to. You get a free book the first time. That's no plug. I'm not linking anything below for that. It's just that there are times I've read books and I've saved money. I learned some new skill in a book and it saved me literally $1,200 last year, just because I found a way to save money. I've gotten ideas from books, and I've also just been creative from it. And the thing is, it doesn't hit your mind like anything else. Like a YouTube video or a video game or a movie doesn't necessarily have the same impact on your brain as reading does. And once you get started with it and you try and you make a commitment to do it, I guarantee it'll change your life. It's a wonderful habit to have, and it definitely is worthwhile. Number 3 is going to be review. This is the third R, review. Reviewing is really, really important. And when I was younger, I wasn't really good. Definitely, I was ADHD, and it was hard for me to see plans and to break things down. I used to just procrastinate like everybody else. At least I thought everybody else did this. And then I would struggle, or I wouldn't see the end result. I always was a big picture person, but I didn't see all the steps. And it wasn't until I really started committing to writing things down and having a list and going back to that list. There are people out there that need to learn this, and you might need to learn that skill too, where you actually have to write things down. Nowadays you have things like Google Calendar, but you need to review what you're doing. You need to look at it. You don't have to necessarily stress so much about it, but you need to look at it. And what's great too is if there's something in your head that is stressing you out, you can just write it down on a piece of paper, knowing that you're going to come back to it. So by getting in the habit of reviewing, and I'm not perfect with this one, I could probably be better with this one this week and other weeks, but when you get in the habit of doing it, it kind of gives you a lot more peace of mind, which is just really, really a fantastic thing. The next one's going to be one that I'm actually just started doing about 3 weeks ago. So it's a journey that I'm on right now, but it has significantly an amazing impact on my life, and I would definitely recommend it. And this one's going to be relaxation, which is really just another way for meditating. Dealing with someone like myself that definitely has dealt with anxiety and my own issues, and especially being by myself in a foreign country, if I was in a negative thought loop, you know, I could be in a negative thought loop for weeks at a time. And meditation, I used to just think that meant you sat down, you closed your eyes, and you just tried to not think. But it really comes down to actually trying to focus on one thing. Maybe it's your breath or something else. And when thoughts pop into your brain, you're not doing anything wrong, but you're actually able to examine it. You know, when we're walking around everyday life and we're not actually sitting and just trying to just be in our own heads, there's all kinds of distractions coming in. And I find it a lot of times when I'm stressed, or we're just stressed as people, what do? We go on YouTube. We watch something on TV, or some people, maybe they use alcohol and drugs. We don't want to deal with the stuff there. I'm telling you, you close your eyes and you sit and you just focus on breathing for 5 minutes. I challenge you to try to do it. And things are going to pop up in your head. You got to deal with yourself, your mind. And through that process, thoughts come and they go. And you're able to analyze those thoughts a lot more. You're able to just realize them what they are. You don't get lost in the thought loop so much. If I'm feeling stressed, I'm allowed to have those thoughts come in and examine them. Oh, why am I stressed? Or why do I have these thoughts sometimes? Or anger, or sadness, or happiness. It gives you a way to really, really examine these thoughts. And how, I don't know about you guys, but just by letting the thoughts coming in, giving myself 15, 20 minutes to let them come into my brain and leaving it, is allowing me to deal with them all so that I'm not trying to distract it. Because when you try to distract yourself from a thought, if I say to you, don't think about pink elephants right now, you're thinking about pink elephants. It kind of works like that. So when you give yourself a chance to think about it, they're able to get out of your head. And then I find that when I'm doing other activities, yeah, I still have good and bad days, you know, and I still get stressed, but I'm able to be into the activity so much more. I'm having a little bit less of the chatter and getting lost in my own head. I had an epiphany where I worried about something. It was an apartment moving. I thought there was damage. I thought it was something I was gonna have to pay for. And I'm telling you, I worried about this for 3 or 4 years. And the amount of worrying and energy I put into it, when everything was said and done, I had to pay some money. I had to get it fixed, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But the amount of time I wasted in my life when I could have been enjoying an activity, maybe it was just watching TV or running, I spent it worrying about this. And so meditating has taught me and is helping me be in the current moment a lot more. I played video games over the weekend, and like I'm telling you, I was playing this video game, and that's all I was doing, and I loved it. It was like an hour went by. I was flying this airplane, I was shooting things down, and I was so happy. So I think meditation gets a bad rap. It was definitely something I'm learning more about, but it has immensely impacted my life in a positive way in only 3 weeks. You can download apps like Calm or Headspace. I think they have free trials. I recommend that because it kind of gives you the basics. I'm sure there's plenty of YouTube channels on there, but just commit to 5 or 10 minutes a day if you want to try it. And I challenge you, come back to me and tell me it didn't impact your life in a positive way. Number 5, this is the 5th R in my 5 R's of 5 habits that'll change your life. And this is repetition, and this is probably the most important out of this, because if you pick one of these lists, you have to do the other one as well, and that is repetition. You have to repeat things over and over and over again. I mean, so many people, I don't know if it's just being an educator or just in general, so many of us have this mindset that if we try something and we're bad at it, that we're going to quit it. It's like we think all these professional athletes, these actors, these people we look up to, we look at them like they were just always naturally good. And I'm sure LeBron James was great at basketball, but to tell me the guy didn't have to work at it, I mean, he's physically built a certain way, but like, you have to put in the work, and you have to be able to look at things in a big picture. And all these other activities kind of help with that, because when you're reading a book, you feel good afterwards because you had to make the time for it. You had to repeat it. If you want to have a YouTube channel like me, you have to sit down and try. You have to repeat things and go over that. Repetition, the not giving up part, to whatever it is. If you suck at something, suck at it for a very, very long time, and then tell me it's not going to get better over time. So I hope that you found some value in this video. If you did, I would love it if you hit that like button. These are things that have really, really helped me and brought me joy. As I said, the meditation one did, because I want to just make videos about what I want to talk about. I still want to talk about Sweden, but I want to do them and then let it go. I don't want to stress about it. Like, if this video gets 30 views, whatever. I think there's a value in this, and it makes me happy, so that's what I'm going to do. But I challenge you, what activity are you guys going to try from this list? Which one are you going to try? Write it down below, and then I want you to check back with me in 30 days and tell me how it went. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Hej då.